From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening, Fairbanks, and thank you for joining us. Our top story this Friday, health and business groups have encouraged Governor Sean Parnell to expand Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act. But in a press conference today, the governor said the federal program is broken.
Under the Affordable Care Act, the federal government would cover 100% of the expansion during the first 3 years, but Parnell says the federal pledge can't be trusted. For now, the governor says he wants to create a Medicaid reform strategy for Alaskans that is sustainable. He is creating a group to draft a plan which would fill health care gaps among low-income people. He says the plan will be presented in less than a year.
Arguments in the studies and even the public discourse, the public conversation has for some time assumed that 43,000 people have absolutely no access to health care because they have no Medicaid. That is simply a false assumption. Still, and I want to be clear on this, there are challenges. Clearly there are challenges of access for this population. And we need to better understand those challenges. I asked the groups I mentioned to work with me and our administration to address these issues, and I pledged to continue the conversations on them.
Crews with Golden Valley Electric Association are continuing to work around the clock to get power restored to all of the Fairbanks area. But as of this morning, there are still about 3,000 residents without power. According to officials, additional lineman crews have been called in from Anchorage to assist with the process. At news time, crews are working in the Chena Hot Springs and Chena Ridge areas, as well as North Pole, Chattanooga, and University West. TVA says that while the backbone of their system is up and running, the individual outages are what's causing problems at this point, and in many cases, damage is worse than what they expected.
So as we're going forward here, you're going to see that perhaps your neighbor's on, but you're not. And it could be because a tree landed on your transformer and not your neighbor's. So we're asking people to turn their porch lights on so we know who's got power and who doesn't, and that helps us isolate where we're going to have a problem as we're searching for it.
Residents in some areas may not see power for another couple of days. The borough closed their warming shelters earlier this afternoon, but if families are in need of assistance, they can contact the American Red Cross at 451-8267.
As residents are trying to keep their homes from freezing up, Fairbanks has seen a severe shortage of generators for sale. Local businesses saw a rush on generators immediately, and the town ran out early yesterday. Now, some businesses have intermittently received new shipments, but say they're gone as soon as they arrive. Some are trying to heat their homes using alternative and unsafe methods for the indoors, and police have already responded to calls for carbon monoxide poisoning. Local businesses are trying to do their part to keep up with demand for purchase and repairs to generators, and they say it's important to be safe no matter how you decide to heat your home.
People just have to be careful, with the wind and things like that. You need to make sure that their chimneys are clear, that, the stoves are performing the way they're supposed to. If they notice anything unusual, the first thing I would check is to make sure that there's nothing plugging or clogging the chimney.
We've worked with other local businesses to try to ensure customers got a generator if we didn't have it. We've been repairing them as needed, so you bring it in today, we'll have it back to you today.
The Alaska Innocence Project has responded to the state's petition for more time in the Fairbanks 4 murder case, and they're not happy about it. Today, attorneys for Marvin Roberts filed an opposition to the state's motion for an extension of time, saying that Roberts is currently in prison for a crime he didn't commit, and that any extension in time, quote, multiplies that injustice. Roberts is currently in prison for the 1997 murder of Jonathan Hartman. He and his co-defendants, Eugene Vent, George Fries, and Kevin Pease, have maintained their innocence and are continuing to fight their convictions. Now, we'll have more on this story tomorrow.
The Fairbanks North Star Borough Assembly has approved a land sale with the owner of the Chena Hot Springs Resort. Bernie Carl will pay $297,600 for 1,482 acres. The original price had been about $580,000. In exchange, Carl agreed to a number of conditions, including making public access easier. According to Mayor Luke Hopkins, there is still a lot of work to be done before the sale is final. Carl must first make the improvements, and then they will need to be approved by the borough. However, Hopkins says he's happy with the fact that the sale has finally made it to this point after such a lengthy process.
The buyer, who was a willing buyer at the beginning, became an unwilling buyer, but the borough had invested a lot in this operation, and would the Assembly want to consider continuing the process to try to find a solution. Different than what they had at first, but then last night there was a confirming vote by the Assembly that this was acceptable to them, and I think that's a darn good thing.
All right, well, when we come back, we look at a business that spends its time thanking the people, of Fairbanks.
And the parents, too. Also, a military and veterans resource fair was held at UAF today. Those stories are next. Stay with us.
And welcome back. Tonight, we highlight a business that spends the entire year trying to bring thanks to the people of Fairbanks. They do this by providing free thank you cards to anyone who signs up for the program. We have more now in this report. 'Tis the season for giving thanks, and there has certainly been many outlets for it, especially during November, the month of the holiday known for it. However, one business in Fairbanks, Dateline Digital Printing, has been working diligently throughout the year to provide an outlet of thanks for interior residents.
Thanks Fairbanks is a sort of a community-driven project that we developed at Dateline in order to spread a culture of gratitude in Fairbanks. I realized that I wasn't very good at expressing my gratitude, and I wanted to be better about that. And this project is a little bit of an offshoot of that, of my personal desire to be a little bit better at expressing gratitude.
He likes to call himself the dreamer of Thanks Fairbanks, and that he is. Jeff Welch says he thinks his idea has been spreading the thanks throughout the year.
I think it's good for a community when the people in the community are expressing gratitude and have that as sort of a core value. And we've gotten cards back from customers that have been appreciative for the project, and we've heard stories from different people of how it's impacted their kids and different things like that.
What kinds of people and businesses utilize the program Thanks Fairbanks? Welch says you'd be surprised at the numbers. They are growing.
It's a wide range. So in 2012, I sent out here at Dateline, I sent out a thank you card every business day. So I logged about 275 thank you cards personally. And the program has given out over 6,000. And our distribution next week, we'll get really close to 8,000 cards by the end of that distribution.
If you have people that you would like to send thank you cards to, you can sign up for the free service at Dateline or online and receive cards in the mail or for pickup to use yourself. In the meantime, Jeff Welch says he's happy spreading the message of thanks any way he can.
If we can sort of be just that starting point where they say, oh, I've got one downstairs, I think that that's a really cool thing to be able to do.
Stephanie Woodard, News Center 11.
The University of Alaska Fairbanks is proud of their military training program with an outstanding ROTC membership and other military opportunities. Today up at the UAF's Wood Center, the Military and Veterans Resource Fair was on display to the public, with a number of agencies having an opportunity to showcase what they could do for those that had an interest in a military career. Over the couple of years, the university introduced the Veterans Resource Center to help the military and veterans come back to school.
We've got different things. We've got the Vet Center here to talk about counseling services and VOC Rehab, which is another education program they can use. They can talk about disability compensation, Army career and alumni programs here to talk about everything that they do for Fort Wainwright soldiers. We also have people from UAF on hand to talk about UAF programs as well. So there's a number of different kinds of resources here.
The Holiday Marketplace is a one-stop Christmas shopping extravaganza for Fairbanks and outlying areas. From handmade soap to beaded earrings to imported wool sweaters, the event will be going on all weekend. Saturday, the doors will open from 10 to 7, and on Sunday from 11 to 5 p.m. Admission is $5 at the door. Children 12 and under get in for free. Daycare will be available at $4 an hour for parents who would like to get Christmas shopping done. Event coordinator said putting this all together with the weather conditions was quite a challenge.
I think about 75% of my people come from south of Fairbanks, and they drive, and they had the terrible road conditions on Wednesdays and Thursday, and they persevered and came through, braved the elements, and set up. And I think it's it says a lot for our community in this show. I know there's a lot of people out there that have been with the kids all week because of no school. We do have daycare available, so if there's anybody that wants to come and shop, and we've got daycare available.
Okay, coming up after the break, Joe Cook with sports. He has highlights from last night's Nanook volleyball game.
They,
They dominated
Go
in the
ahead,
box
Joe.
score, but did it amount to a win? Stephanie.
Also, my turn. Joe has some high school scores and the play of the week after the break, so stick around. Joe's coming up next.
Hello, Interior Sports fans. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening to start your weekend off right with some sports. Last night, the Natick volleyball team had one of its 2 last home games of the season. They wanted to get some momentum before Saturday's matchup with Western Washington, but first they had to take care of the Clan from Simon Fraser. The Natics built a 13-8 lead in the first, but the Clan would rally and win the first set 25-23. The second set is where it was all Alaska as they led 14-8 and won the second set 25-14. Freshman Caitlin Camp had a new career high 53 assists for UAF. The Clan had a 7-3 lead in the third, however, their first lead to begin a set, and they held on for a 25-21 win. Madeline Haight went crazy for 16 kills, hitting 59% with no errors. Sam Hartoon had 23 kills to lead the Natics, but freshman Cassidy Brewer had her best game with a career high 13 kills, hitting at 48%. She also, those two there, gave Alaska a 17-15 lead in the fourth, but the Clan, they rallied again and took the fourth set 25-22 for the fourth set victory. Another frustrating L, the Natics outperformed Simon Fraser in 6 statistics categories except for errors. The Clan had 13 while Alaska had 22 in this one.
I think what really worked with us was our energy. We really got a lot of momentum going, and I think we really stuck it out. Like, we had switching up some positions and everyone did really well. Everyone really did their job and played for each other, so I think that's what counted.
Really focused on low air, and that was a big part of what made me have a good night. And I've been working on that a lot in practice too, so it showed tonight.
For me, it really comes down to timing and heart. It comes down to finding a way to win despite what anybody else can do to you. And we're not mature enough for that yet, which is really sad because we're doing a lot of great things.
And yesterday at the ASAA First National Bank State Volleyball Tournament in Anchorage at Chugat High School, all the interior teams ended up having to play their way through the losers bracket. Monroe won its opener over ACS, but fell to Mount Edgecombe last night in 3 games, 25-21, 25-16, 25-22. They will play Hutchinson this evening because this afternoon, Hutchinson swept Nome after losing its first match to Grace Christian yesterday. The Hawks beat the Natics 25-22, 26-24, 25-12 though. The only interior team can move on since both have a loss. Monroe and Hutch split their regular season series. Hutch gave Monroe their first loss of the year, but the Rams defeated the Hawks for the Royal title last week, so that would be a good one there. And unfortunately, in 4A, the West Valley girls lost to Chugiak today. The Mustangs won in 3 sets. The Wolfpack are out of the state tournament after losing to South in their first game. West Valley went 10-2 for the year and made their 5th straight state tournament. In high school hockey down in Anchorage, the Lathrop Malamutes followed up their 2-0 victory over North Pole earlier this week with an offensive explosion. The Malamutes defeat East Anchorage by a score of 9-7. A baseball score in this one. Chad Horn scored 4 goals for Lathrop. Ken Walker, he tacked on 2 scores as well. Today, they play West Anchorage, and then Lathrop will play Wasilla on Saturday. Not all has been lost for high school sports this weekend. North Pole will host Hutchinson tomorrow at 6 in the Polo Ice Arena for some high school hockey, and Delta and Lathrop will shoot a postal match and report their scores next week for high school rifle. And here's a glance at some weekend sports happenings in the interior tonight and tomorrow at 7:30. In the Big Dipper, the Fairbanks Ice Dogs take on Midwest Division leader Minnesota Wilderness in the 2-game series. The Ice Dogs can make up some ground for the top spot in the division this weekend with some wins. Also on Saturday, Alaska Natick volleyball team will try to send off lone senior Carrie Knight out with the bang. It will be the last home game for Knight. UAF will host 10th-ranked Western Washington at 7 p.m. in the Patty Center. And don't forget about the Yukon Title Curling Classic taking place at the Fairbanks Curling Club. The action is all day Saturday and concludes on Championship Sunday. And finally, like we do on Fridays, we have your Play of the Week from this week's I-5 Interior Top 5 Plays. The Play of the Week comes from the volleyball court. Marissa King of the Aurora Conference champion Monroe Rams makes what looks like a painful split, but manages to get the dig against Hutch, and it turns it to a point for the Rams. Monroe is still alive in the state tournament. They play Hutchinson this evening. To select the Play of the Week, just watch for the new I-5 Interior Top 5 Plays on Monday at the end of the weekend recap. Comment on YouTube and Facebook or add us on Twitter, KTVF 11 Sports and KTVF Joe Cook, to let us know the play of the week, which will be revealed on Friday. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while, but come back tonight for the Sports Nightcap for Ice Dogs, highlights, and more. Check us out on Twitter, YouTube, and of course, webcenter11.com. Stay warm, Alaska. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Mike Schultz with you once again, taking a look at the weather. I got 2 words for you tonight: slow down. Those roads out there are really nasty. It's like an ice skating rink. Give yourself plenty of time to get to your destination and things will be a lot better. And our photograph for tonight, we'll start off with Bobette McGurkin. Got a shot of downtown Fairbanks with a beautiful sunset in the background there. Again, the colors are beautiful. And again, we love getting these photographs. I need some more. So if you have a photograph to share, send it to Mike Schultz at KTVF11.com. And it could appear in our next year's edition of the Fab Photos. The new one is out. It's out at many places, 12 locations across the interior, including how about driven auto body, that's what it is. And that's right on down the Van Horn area. And again, like I said, it is free, so keep that in mind. Here's what's going on as far as the numbers this time of year. The normal high 10 above, normal low 7 below. We're actually warmer today than we should be. Record high 43, 19, 16, 35 below in 2011. And our sunrise and sunset, 6 hours and 9 minutes of daylight, a loss of 7 minutes from yesterday. Today's satellite pictures, you can see lots of clouds moving across the interior, but nothing really coming out of them. There's some showers moving rapidly across from the northwest to the southeast. And again, those are going to bring maybe some snow shower activity tonight and tomorrow. What's going on across the state today looks like this. Again, nice weather over southeast Alaska, fog along the Aleutian chain, some snow showers around Nome, cloudy skies for Barrow and Fort Yukon. Lower 48 weather tonight. Well, we're talking about more rain falling across the Pacific Northwest, even some showers around the Los Angeles area, and looking at showers across the Central Plains with thunderstorms, again, over the Florida Peninsula. On our satellite and radar, you can see a little more moisture moving across the Gulf Coast states and some energy starting to work its way down from the northwest, all being driven by the jet stream. And that is going to result in possibly a winter storm over much of the western half of the country over the weekend. Well, back to our neck of the woods. Snow showers for Barrow and Nome tomorrow, light snow in Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we're looking at a little light snow off and on, not very much accumulation expected for Healy, Delta Junction, and Fairbanks, while over southeast Alaska, things are getting better there. Becoming sunny in Juneau, decreasing clouds for Ketchikan, and over the southwest part of the state, we're looking at partly cloudy skies at Bethel and Cold Bay, sunny skies at Kodiak. And south central regions, it looks like lots of widespread sunshine for Anchorage, Valdez, and Homer. Well, it is a Friday night, which means it's time for our Winter Trails Report, brought to you by the folks at Beaver Sports. Even though we have quite a bit of snow around, the only slopes that are open tomorrow are the Moose Mountain area, and that's because because of the ice situation, so only experienced skiers are advised to attempt the slope. Otherwise, use caution with all the icy conditions on around the area. All right, here's your forecast for tonight. 0 degrees with scattered snow showers developing later on this evening. 1 inch possible of snow. And tomorrow's forecast calling for maybe another inch of snow and not as cold, 12 degrees for the daytime high. And the extended forecast calling for that snow shower activity to continue into Sunday and Monday, then becoming mainly cloudy skies and temperatures falling. In fact, looking at temperatures down to 15 to 20 below. Next week, still, it could be a lot colder this time of year.
Oh, that is not good, Mike. Highs of 10 below. Mike, I thought you'd bring me better news than that.
Obviously, we've been spoiled, so we need to look at getting some colder temperatures to get back to reality.
Right. Thanksgiving last year was 25, 30 below.
Yeah, I've seen many Thanksgivings at 40 below. So
you know, I do have to say something though, really fast, Mike. You need to tell everybody about your stash because I think they might notice it. So go ahead and let them know what you're doing.
November.
No Shave November.
That's right.
So
I think I get along with it to help support the program against prostate cancer.
That's right.
Very good. And for me, I just forgot, but it takes me 4 days just to get that. So there you go. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike. And that will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, NFL legend Brett Favre's stunning comments about kids and the dangers of playing the game. That's coming up next with Brian Williams.
Remember, our warm-up this winter and watch win contest is going on right now. Grand prize is 250 gallons of heating fuel from Alaska Fuel Services.
Great prize. All right. From all of us here at the News Center, have a great night and have a great weekend.